My name is Amy, and for work, I am the content coordinator at Rock Church. I got saved here, and I really wanted to seek the Lord with all of my heart. It was about 2 years that I had dedicated my life to Christ and just seeking Him and spending time in the Word and praying, and a lot of it was actually praying for my future husband. Finally, once I got to this point of absolute surrender and just truly loving my walk with the Lord, I told Him, if my relationship with you can be like this forever, then I don't have to have a husband. I'm just so good with you, Lord. And it was about a month later that He brought me my husband.
My name is Ruben, worship pastor at our City Heights campus. Before I came to this church, I was a hot mess. Being born and raised in a Christian family doesn't always end up, where you're just doing it God's way and the perfect way. And I had a lot of questions. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to serve God, I was knowing who I was serving. So that right there in itself was a milestone. The second thing was being a part of the worship team, playing the drums. I was surrounded by a group of people who poured into me, had a mentor. And then, of course, meeting Amy at the Rock Church. All the efforts of trying to invite her for coffee and getting denied finally paid off. When we found out that Amy was pregnant with Malachi, we decided that Amy would be a stay-at-home mom. We would go to one income and that God would provide. To me, that was our first step of faith when it comes to finances, believing that God was going to provide regardless.
A few years ago, we had committed to give above what we were already tithing, and that was a little nerve-wracking because it was already a stretch. But we sought the Lord about what amount we would give, and for about 6 months or so, we hadn't given that. We just kind of kept forgetting, oh yeah, we need to pay what we had committed to giving above. So after church one day, God was just convicting us, not in a harsh way or anything. It wasn't like, you haven't been giving. But we were like, okay, we calculated, how much do we owe? And if we were to have given all of that at that one time, we would have had about $15 in our bank account.
I thought maybe if we broke it up in 2 payments, it would ease her mind a little bit. But I love that her immediate response was, no, we got to give it all.
And when he got his next paycheck, he got extra on that paycheck, almost the exact same amount of what we had given.
That was God revealing Himself again and saying, I got you.
After that, we continued to give our monthly commitment. Times would come again where it was difficult and we may have spent too much. We were looking at our account okay, I'm not really sure what we're going to do before next month, but at that exact time, we check our mail, and there was a random check in there.
I see this check, and there was a note in there, and someone I had just met said, I just feel like the Holy Spirit said to send you this check.
I've heard stories of people getting random checks in the mail, and I'm like, well, that's really cool, God, but I never had personally experienced that.
We really wanted to stretch ourselves and even giving in the first place because we love Him. And being a part of this church and everything that takes place and the outreach and the ministry, and I'm like, we need to sow into this. We need to be a part of what God is doing. And then you see the fruit. You see God's faithfulness in His promises. We don't ever have to worry. Rent will always be covered. We'll always have gas in the car. We'll always have food in the fridge. Our kids will always have clothes, and we're going to always have a roof over our head because God is faithful.
Can you air drum and sing for us?
Yeah, I can air drum and sing for you guys. What's a good song to sing?
Sing one that you would have sang back then.
Wow. Great is your faithfulness. Great is your faithfulness. You never change. You never fail, oh God. There you go.